The 7 things you should be talking about today. Number 7.
The fight over U.S. Space Command headquarters has expanded. And that's not just to Congress. No, it has expanded to Ohio. Yeah, Ohio lawmakers are now petitioning for the permanent home to be at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, challenging Alabama's Redstone Arsenal and Colorado's Peterson Space Force Base for locations for the command. Now, as we all know, Redstone was chosen as the preferred location in 2021, but President Biden decided to keep the command in Colorado for political reasons, prompting Alabama leaders to push for a reversal. Alabama's United States Senators Tommy Tuberville and Katie Britt have advocated for Redstone's selection, with many believing that decision would be reversed by now and the Space Command HQ would be headed to Alabama. I believe that's going to happen. It has not happened yet.
Number 6.
The Alabama State Senate has unanimously elected Garland Gudger of Coleman as its new president pro tem, with Gudger pledging to prioritize teamwork, efficiency, and immigration enforcement. We'll get into that here in just a bit. Although he also said gambling legislation, while not a priority for this lesson, or for this session, he expressed concern about lost revenue to neighboring states and indicated he would review any proposed bill on the issue. Last year, Alabama lawmakers came close to passing a bill that would let voters decide on legalizing a state lottery, casinos, and sports betting, but it fell short by a single vote. And I will tell you this, no, it did not fall one vote short, because the minute you change it, another vote falls off. It was way further than one vote away, but okay, technically correct.
Number 5.
After a 3-year hiatus, the Etowah County Jail will once again house ICE detainees as part of a renewed agreement with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. You know them as ICE. ICE baby. Sheriff Jonathan Horton, who has been in discussions with ICE officials since late 2024, confirmed that the facility, which passed an inspection in 2021, is preparing for another review before resuming operations. They have over 865 beds available, and Horton assured that overcrowding will not be an issue as the detention program resumes and other Alabama officials get on board with President Donald Trump's immigration policy with actions and not just words. A little side question here. Are we building new prisons in the state of Alabama? There's 850 beds here? I'm not saying I don't want this to be used for ICE or any of this stuff, but 865 beds available? Why don't they fill them with prisoners?
Number 4.
Alabama lawmakers are reconsidering the 2023 overtime tax cut. And this is the first time I've heard this discussed where I might believe there's something here. Now, they say this has cost the Treasury $230 million a year. I frame it differently. It has delivered $230 million for overtime workers, far exceeding the initial $40 million estimate, while exploring alternative relief measures such as further reducing the grocery tax. This is an actual plan. Yes, there are alternative measures here that they're actually discussing. Senate Majority Leader Steve Livingston, a Republican out of Scottsboro, and Budget Chairman State Senator Arthur Orr, a Republican out of Decatur, and need to get in on this. They're stressing the need to balance tax reductions with maintaining education funding, as 95% of state income tax revenue is allocated to schools and teacher salaries. Cutting the food tax. Okay.
Number 3.
Democrats are rallying against President Donald Trump and government employee Elon Musk's effort to dismantle USAID. All employees have been placed on leave, by the way. But strategists like David Axelrod and Rahm Emanuel, Democratic strategists at that, are suggesting that Democrats are doing the dumb thing right now. They are arguing for Moroccan clay pot makers to get $2 million from the Treasury. That's not going to play out very well. The waste is being laid out every single day, and these strategists argue that Democrats should instead focus their messaging on issues like education cuts and economic struggles that directly impact working class Americans. Democrats are going a different way. They showed up outside the Treasury Department calling Elon Musk a Nazi and chanting, "Lock him up." So there's that. By the way, he is a federal government employee, so stop lying about that.
Number 2.
Ahead of her State of the State address, Governor Ivey addressed the Business Council of Alabama, highlighting her administration's successes and laying out key priorities for 2025, including public safety, workforce development, broadband expansion, banning cell phones in schools. Not really one that she focused on, but I thought that was an interesting one, so I wanted to throw it in there. And then last and certainly least, conservative fiscal policies. Because I would not argue that the state of Alabama really operates that way, but whatever. We'll throw that in there. She praised Alabama's economic achievements, noting $55.7 billion in capital investments and 93,000 new jobs, as well as significant gains in education rankings, which is true, and broadband readiness, which is Ivey emphasized that Alabama's progress has drawn national recognition and urged lawmakers to continue working towards long-term growth and security for the state. So this legislative session sounds like there's a lot on the table. I look forward to covering it.
And now time for the number 1 thing you should be talking about today.
You know how people say that phrase like, in a move, shocking to no one? Well, in a move, shocking to absolutely everyone, President Donald Trump proposed the U.S. control Gaza. Yeah, a war-ravaged Gaza Strip. Why don't we just take it? And, I say that very nonchalantly. It's pretty much how the President of the United States threw it out there as well. The goal, of course, relocating its residents to other countries that have said they're not going to take it and developing the region under American oversight. Now, this could mean 1,000 different things. Could Gaza be the 51st state? Is that possible? No, Canada's the 51st state. Gaza would be the 52nd state. Could it mean that we are just going to pay for it? I mean, most likely. That I think is what this actually means. The suggestion has sparked outrage from Palestinians who, of course, are outraged about basically everything. And they want to remain there, which is not a surprise. But let's just be real about it. This area is full of terrorism and poverty. Their main export is explosives. Okay? They are not really in a situation where it's like, hey, everything's fine. Nobody needs to do anything. So the question is, what do we do about it? This is a region that even the people that live there have referred to an open air prison for decades. So what is the solution? Their regional allies, Egypt and Jordan, have never wanted Palestinians in their country. They don't want them now. The plan is part of Trump's broader aggressive approach to the Middle East, which contrasts with the more cautious diplomacy of the Biden administration and could remake the entire region or spark a ton of chaos. This is the biggest wow that I've seen so far in the Trump administration. Shutting down foreign aid, doing away with the Department of Education, going after FBI agents who were involved in the Russia hoax and the January 6th stuff. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. This I am surprised by. This is a wild one, and I think is the biggest swing Donald Trump has taken yet. Very interesting to see. Where it goes from here, I have absolutely no idea, but by golly, I'm really looking forward to watching because this is going to be some pretty interesting stuff. So keep it locked right here and beyond. You got any thoughts on this? Because I want to hear them. Tell me what you're thinking. Is this idea with Gaza a good idea? Is this something that Donald Trump should do? And I ask this with all the seriousness in the world. Will a single shovel get turned over this idea? Will one piece of land be moved over this idea? Will they actually allow the Americans to come in and start rebuilding? I don't think anybody wants to take it over and make it a territory or anything, but overseeing and controlling it, I think that's something that could happen. It seems very far-fetched, but the possibility is there. You can jump in right now and voice your opinion. 205-545-9950. Tell me what you're thinking about that. Get your questions in for 10 with him, and we'll do all we can to get through the fastest hour of radio anywhere on your radio dial.
You're listening to News and Views with Dale Jackson.